See you on Insight Timer for our interactive experience. Hello. Hi, Peter Brook. Good morning to you. Hi, Judy. Hi, Monica. Welcome, everyone. Hi, Christine. Mm. Hi, Brad. I feel the same. Hi, Jason. I'm so grateful to be together. Hi, Fiona. It's so nice. It's like a little homecoming. And warm welcome to everyone. Warm welcome to those who are joining for the first time. Talita, welcome. Feel free to share. Well, actually, we'll get to that in just a moment. Hi, Sunshine. For anyone that I'm getting to meet for the first time, my name is Selena. I have many recordings here on the app. I have two courses. One is yogic practices for a peaceful life, and the other one is going to be released any day, and it is a guide to living with self love. We also have live sessions each week, sessions like this where we sit together in loving introspection and meditation and community, and then also yoga asana sessions where we move our bodies. Hi, Carmen. And what a privilege it is to get to be together in these spaces. We also have a group called Love Heals All. It's a space to connect with other community members here on the app, and all are welcome. I have my widescreen on. Oh, awesome. Welcome, Kathy. So if you're seeing me up close and personal, you may wish to turn your device sideways if that's possible for your device, to be able to see more of the background and less of my face up close. So today, in a moment, we're going to dive into a specific topic today. And I'd like for us to be together in this space of compassion, forgiveness, and freedom. Compassion, forgiveness, and freedom. We're going to do some self exploration and inquiry today. We'll have a meditation and we'll have time to connect in our community, to share, and maybe some time to ask questions as well. But before we move into all of that, let's arrive here more fully, mentally embodied. I invite you to close the eyes if that feels good. Actually, let's open the eyes. We'll start with the centering technique. So bring the hands together at the chest. And if you can't move your body, you can always visualize doing this. Inhale, slowly reach your right arm all the way up. Your left hand comes down by your navel. See if you can straighten your arm. And then exhale as slowly as you can to bring your palms back to your heart center where they touch. Inhale, really slowly reach the left arm all the way up. The right hand comes down, but the fingers point up. Exhale, really slowly. Take your time. Palms touch at the heart. We'll do this one more time on the right side. Inhale, the right arm all the way up. Left hand down by navel, but all 10 fingers, thumbs point up. Exhale, slowly, slowly back to the heart. Place one hand over your heart, one hand over your belly. And see if you can feel like your chest and your belly are softening into your hands. Start to breathe deeply, consciously. And with each exhalation, feel your body settling Feel your shoulders relaxing down. Allow a space between the teeth and the lips. Feel the muscles of the face and the throat softening. Slow, deep breaths. And if it feels good, start to gently massage circles, slow circles over your heart center, the space in the center of the chest. Feel your belly and your solar plexus relaxing even more. Beautiful. Let's inhale. If you can, reach the arms open wide, open your chest. Exhale, relax the arms down. And if the eyes are closed, you can open the eyes. Hmm, thank you. How's our sound? Can you hear me clearly? Can you see clearly? It says our connection is excellent. So, oh, hi, Angela. Hi, Wendy. Great. Thank you. Great. Thanks, everyone. So, again, today, our topic, yes, it's always nice to center first. And that centering technique, my friends, I know some people are like, oh, we did it 3 times. We should do it in even number. If you want to do it a final fourth time, go for it. If you want to do it 10 times, go for it. It's a fantastic technique that you can use all day long, as often as you wish, to come back to center. So, compassion, I guess I really don't need this. Compassion, forgiveness, and freedom. They are also intimately connected. I've been experiencing the inner journey of feeling hurt and anger covering up that hurt, right? We always have layers of our feelings, not always, but often. And then, of course, deep down underneath the anger and the hurt, there's fear at that root contraction, yes? And so often when we feel hurt, and you may not think of it that way in your mind, maybe you feel like, I just feel enraged, you might not label that as feeling hurt. But when we feel upset with another person, there's often this feeling of wanting to push them away or make them pay for their mistake or just not even have to talk to them about it. But are we free? Ask yourself right now. Maybe there's a situation you're navigating in your life today, or maybe you can recall a situation in your life where you felt upset, hurt, sad, angry with someone for something, and you had this desire to just not talk to them or to push them away or make them, suffer also for whatever they've done. What do you end up feeling when you hold on to that? Do you feel lighter? Do you feel free? Do you feel empowered? There's no right answer. But I think if we're all really being honest with ourselves, we would find that the answer is no. Maybe the surface answer is yes, I feel more empowered, feeling so angry about what they did. True. Maybe part of you feels that way. But power that is rooted in fear is not a true expression of power or of the unlimited power that we have within us. It might be powerful, but to what extent if the root of it is contraction and smallness? Yeah, Peter Brooks shares this. I went through that recently. I stonewalled right? Keeping that person out, but really felt imprisoned by my strong emotions. That's a great example. And why do we do that? Why do we push people away, stonewall them? Why do we do that? What do we get to feel when we do that? I would say that when we do that, we get to experience a false sense of control, or maybe there is actually some sense of, look at that. Yes, yes, beautiful. Perfect. Loving it. See, the chat's delayed on my end, right? So you share your thoughts in the chat and I don't see them for a minute. I love it. We're right on cue, my friends. Control. We have some sense of control. And with anything in our lives, when we have some sense of control, it gives us usually what we could call a false sense of safety. I see Martin Angeles shared control, and then Peter Brooks shared fear of vulnerability. And we could say that's what the control is covering up. The control is covering up that fear of being vulnerable. And Catherine, I see your comment here also about needing boundaries. Yeah, and we could say that also might be control, right? Trying to control my environment through boundaries so that I can feel more safe. And although boundaries and certain types of control can actually give us a sense of safety, in this kind of a context, it's a false sense of safety, I would say. And like Peter Brooks shared, we imprison ourselves in the suffering that we're holding on to. We imprison ourselves and the suffering that we're holding on to. And who here feels, just drop an emoji in the chat if you resonate with this, that when you are in an experience like this right now, or you've had this kind of experience in the past where you felt hurt by someone or done wrong by someone, and you felt that need to push them away or to close them off or to close yourself off, who here felt like they were right? Like in that situation where there was this thing that happened between the two of you felt like you were right. You felt like you were justified. You felt like your perspective was the right perspective. Go ahead and drop an emoji if that resonates for you. And maybe you're a forward thinker and you say, well, I felt like I was right, but I know there's a little more. But if you felt like that sense of like, yeah, I'm really right in this situation. Yeah, I'll raise both of my hands. These are my emojis. Yeah. Yeah, Jeff, 125% of the time. Yes. Now, Kathy is sharing that's the ego talking. And yes, but here's the thing. Many of us have the distinction of the ego. But just because we're aware of the ego doesn't mean that we're not still run by it sometimes, right? So all of your acknowledgments of this feeling of being right and Kathy's acknowledgement about the ego really for me is um, at the heart of these layers because the need to feel right is what comes back to control, doesn't it? The need to feel right is the need to feel in control, to feel safe. Pretty much always comes back down to being safe, yes? We might not think about it that way, but if we really kind of peel back the layers, it's like, oh, yeah, I want safety, approval, or control, but usually control boils down to wanting to feel safe. And even approval sometimes boils down to wanting to feel safe. Now, Judy's sharing, people tell me I did the right thing. However, it doesn't usually feel right to me. Now, Judy, that is, we'll say, a different topic and a different experience of being right. I'm going to stay on track here with this one, but please feel free if we kind of come to a completion later in the session, drop it in the chat again, and we can look at that experience as well. But I would say in this context, what we're speaking about is something different. Yes? Yeah, Angela's trying to protect myself. Thank you for sharing that though, Judy. Would love to circle around to it today if we have time. So when I'm able to sit with all of this inside of myself, maybe at first I just sit with feeling so triggered. Yeah, needing that shell. I feel so triggered. I feel so angry. I feel so hurt. My mind is in all of the justifications and the defenses, thinking about how horrible this person is, or how what they did was so terrible, or how it just not okay. And seeing all of the reasons why I know that I'm right in this situation, and they did something that wasn't cool and wasn't right. That might be the first layer, right? And then I get in a little bit more, and I'm like, all right, I know there's always another perspective. They're feeling something too. I can acknowledge that maybe this is what they felt. I can acknowledge that maybe they felt like I was being this way, even though I didn't feel like I was being this way. I can acknowledge these things. But I go deeper and I go deeper. And this need to be right, rooted in this sense of longing to feel safe, it keeps us from being honest with ourselves at times. It keeps us from being honest with others at times. And it keeps us from experiencing true intimacy because we're not able to be truly vulnerable. Now, I know this might feel like I'm going a little too fast for some of you. Some of you are still stuck in like the surfaced stage of like your justification and feeling wronged by something or someone. And that's okay. You can take your time in today's experience. You don't need to go as fast as we're going. I just want to kind of take you to the heart of where I'm able to come to more and more, because of course some of us have been together here for years. Some of us are here together for the first time today. And yes, I lead these sessions, and yes, I do, deep one-on-one work with people and all the things that I do in my life and in my world, but I'm absolutely still doing the work. I'm not better than anyone. I'm right. We're in it together. Yes. And I have a deep dedication to my awakening, and I have a deep dedication to my freedom. That's it. It's like this wonderful Byron Katie quote. I realized I could be right or I could be free. I realized I could be right or I could be free. So I'm going to take you again into the heart of where I'm stirring and where I often come to and where I'm evolving more and more into. And then we're going to go through some processes together to help us move through some of these layers. Humility, humility. When I am judging someone else, when I am in a state of righteousness, the need to be right, I'm not in a state of humility. And what this really means is that my mind, which is not a bad guy, it's just an experience. My mind is perpetuating the suffering of separateness. My mind is perpetuating the suffering of the illusion of separateness when I get caught in the judgments. You see, we think it's about healing the surface. We think it's about getting revenge. We think it's about the other person, facing themselves. We think it's about the other person apologizing. We think it's about finally having harmony in a situation. And although that really feels true for parts of ourselves, it's all about us. I just feel so deeply in my heart when I am blaming another, it is as if I am crushing my own heart. And I know this might not make sense to your intellect right now. No issue. We're going to do a little work around this together. But again, I just wanted to take you into a really vulnerable place with me here. When I blame another person, I'm crushing my own heart. Because when I push somebody away, when I want someone to whatever it is, all of the different things we could say, when I want someone to get what they deserve, any of the things that might come up in our minds, right? When I'm in that place of judgment, I have closed my heart. I am pushing down my love. I am making myself small in my experience of pain. And I am the one who suffers the most. When I close my heart, I suffer the most. The person I'm mad at, they're going through whatever they're going through. I'm the one who suffers when I close my heart. And it's so painful. It's so painful. And this is the way many of us live, and we're totally unaware of it. Not because we're bad or unevolved. We just haven't learned it. No one taught us. No one taught us how to love ourselves. No one taught us about the true depths of compassion that we can hold. And I say no one generally. Of course, some of us have been taught these things, but most of us haven't learned it. We haven't discovered it within ourselves. We live our lives walking around with all of these guards and protectors and walls and old resentments and unforgiveness that we hold against others. And we feel somehow righteous and are holding on to the pain. But we are the ones who are suffering because of what we're holding on to. And I would even venture to say it doesn't keep us more safe. Because some of us have that kind of mental idea, right? We're like, well, I hold on to these past pains and wounds because that's what will keep me safe from going through this again. But I would say that holding on to the past hurts and the resentment and the unforgiveness keeps us in a mental and emotional state to expect more pain. So we're actually constantly focusing subconsciously and consciously on more pain coming to us. It's like we've trained ourselves to be in a state of pain. So I would even venture to say that it doesn't keep us more safe. Yes, fear can be a powerful tool in the brain to help us be more aware of when we need to protect ourselves, but to live in a state of that and holding on to old wounds is not giving us what we think it is. And as always, I'm here just to share. You don't need to agree with me. It's okay if you disagree with me. There's so many perspectives and experiences. Take it or leave it. No issue. So, would anyone wish to share anything before we move into some exercises together to start to just move through these layers of when we're holding on to hurt and we're surely not in a place of compassion, let alone forgiveness or freedom? Would anyone like to share anything before we start to deepen? Maybe someday excuse me, maybe someday Insight Timer will have breakout rooms, ways for us to have this experience together in these live sessions and then break up into small groups. That's a little drop there, IT, for some future features. Great question, Joy. What are your thoughts on psychedelic therapy? What are my thoughts on psychedelic therapy? Well, somebody said it really concisely uh, recently in a way that I really resonated. This is a much longer conversation and share. So I'm just going to kind of touch on the surface. One, I think it's fantastic that it's becoming more available in healing controlled environments where people can be guided into places that their conscious mind hasn't allowed them to. When we take these kinds of things that alter our state, many of us have the ability to, it's like we all live with this tunnel vision because our conscious minds can only process so much information. So we live like this, not understanding that the world is actually like this. So when we take these kinds of things, medicines, plants, all the different things. It's like our consciousness goes like this. So we're able to have more access to understanding and connection to ourselves and many other things that can come up. But for many, there are a couple of things that are problematic about using that, especially if it's not in an environment where you have someone really guiding you. One, we get addicted and attached to that experience of freedom without learning how to do it on our own. And that's something that I'm so profoundly grateful to my beloved teacher, Saima, for because I used to explore a lot of those types of things when I was young. And when I was 18, I met Saima and my life really changed. And one of the things I really learned was how to get high without anything else, how to get high spiritually. And it's not just like a nice coined phrase, like the yogic techniques and different things that I've been practicing for the last 20 plus years take me into profound states of ecstasy and bliss without any kind of substance to alter my state of mind. So I would say they can be wonderful to help us access things we don't know how to otherwise. And yet, if we are using them regularly because we don't know how to access that in ourselves, I think we do ourselves a disservice. And also, the integration process is pretty intense. Um, Meaning we get really cracked open into this full experience of the consciousness that we are. And then when it wears off, boom, we're back in this very limited consciousness. Now, some of us kind of like our consciousness expands a little more each time, but many of us, we come back to a much more limited place and it can bring about distress and other things. So I'm going to leave it there. And then we're going to move forward into our experiences together. Yes, exactly, Angela. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, Martin, great. And if you're aware of something like that in yourself, then do the work, right here, right now with you each moment. Yeah. All right, my beloved. So I invite you to have paper and pen or pencil. It's great if you can actually write out, but if for some reason you don't have access to those things and you can type some notes, you can pull up a doc or something. But go ahead and have something so that you can write some things out. And what we're going to do today, you can consider it a step by step process, but you could also just take any of these exercises and use them on their own or use them in different sequences, however you wish. Okay, so get settled again if you got up. I invite you just to place a hand on your heart and a hand on your belly again. And if you can't move your body, you can always visualize moving your body, yes? And just take some slow, deep breaths. Let your jaw relax. You can have the eyes open. Just consciously start to slow down and feel how just having your hand on your chest, maybe massaging it a little bit, is can be nurturing. It can feel like, okay, it's okay to let go a little bit. It's okay to face uncomfortable things inside of me. And that's a big part of what I didn't really share, but we're going to get into that. Is when I was speaking to humility, it's the humility to be able to not only recognize I'm creating my own suffering, but I am in a state of judgment and I'm not perfect. And the ego, which again is not a bad guy. The ego is not a bad guy, my friends. The teachings that I come from, we don't annihilate the ego. We enlighten the ego. We pour love into the ego. We pour light and compassion into the ego so that the ego becomes enlightened. Yes? So the ego doesn't want us to see how we're not perfect. because so many of us have this deep conditioning that if we do one little thing wrong, we're not going to be accepted. And if we're not accepted, we're not loved. So our ability to see our shortcomings is very difficult for most of us. It's like we have these big blind spots on like those things that horses have over their eyes, right? Most of us live like that when it comes to our own shortcomings. And if somebody challenges that we're not perfect, whoo, talk about defensiveness, right? Hi, Victoria, my love. Thanks for being here so late at night. I was thinking about you earlier and how late it is for you. I'm glad you're here for a little bit. So, with your writing utensils, paper, pen, pencil, typing, whatever you're going to do, well, I'm just going to enjoy looking at you all for a moment. I love feeling your presence. I'm so grateful for you. So grateful. Okay. So, whether you have something happening in your life right now or something that you can recall, a time that you felt hurt by someone in your life, or you felt really angry with someone in your life. Um, that's awesome, Jason. Wonderful, Victoria. So, I invite you just to bring up one situation. Again, maybe it's something happening right now or something from your past, but bring up a time where you felt really upset. And if it feels like it's a really intense charge, or you might even say like traumatic charge, I invite you to bring up something that feels a little less that has a little less charge. Something that feels like it's manageable that you can work with today. And of course, if at any time during these exercises you're like, whew, this is too much, it's okay to just stop and breathe and just be with yourself. You don't need to force yourself to do anything. And of course, if you feel like it's okay to keep going, even though it's uncomfortable, that's where we can really have some breakthroughs, but in your own time. So start to recall what you felt upset about. This person did this. And you could bring up a situation that you feel is resolved for you or something that is not, either way. Yeah. Remember, we're not writing down all of the times in our lives that we felt hurt by someone. I'm just having you bring one situation to mind. And yes, Brad, many of us have a lot of hurts we hold on to. So bring up one situation in your mind. And then I want you to write down. Yes, that's okay, Victoria. Victoria's in bed thinking, not writing. Write down. Mm, that's kind of where we're going with this, Jason, but not quite. Write down maybe like 5 to 10 at the very most. At the very most. You might even stop at 7. 5 to 7 or 10 things that are the judgments you hold about this person. In relationship to this situation. So, for example, they were so rude. They are so inconsiderate. What else? They're so arrogant. They're so fearful and limited. They are so, they don't love me. They don't care about me. I want you to just, in simple sentences, we're not writing down all the details, or not getting into all of the different things that happened. Just simply write down 5 to 10 judgments that you're holding, and have them be short, just kind of basic, not the long story. Unclench your jaw, take a deep breath. Maybe one of the judgments is, they don't listen to me. They don't value me. Um, they are so hard on me. And once you've completed writing you know, at least 5 of your judgments down, go ahead and drop an emoji in the chat. We'll spend about another 2 minutes here. I'd play music for you, but it would come in choppy. So you can imagine there's nice writing music happening. All right, we'll be here for just under a minute. And I invite you, if you're in a mental state of, I'm too spiritual to think these kinds of thoughts, um, recognize that that is a form of spiritual bypassing. Spiritual bypassing is when we repress emotions or experiences within us that are uncomfortable or that we deem negative because we want to be happy and spiritual. And if that triggered you when I said that, it's okay. I have compassion for that too. It's not comfortable to look at things that don't feel perfect or pretty or nice. It can feel very painful and scary. Okay. So you have your list. Just go ahead and give it a look over again. Just kind of become aware. Thank you so much for your donations. Thank you. I'm very grateful. Okay. Now, close your eyes for a moment. Set your pen down if you have it. And again, place a hand on your heart and a hand on your belly and take some deep breaths. Exhale through the mouth. Let your body feel like it can let go a little bit. And notice if thinking about these judgments makes you feel more contracted or expanded. Do you feel like your heart is more closed or open? Do you feel like it's easier to be pessimistic or optimistic? Just kind of notice. There's no right answer. Right. Let's take another breath. You can open the eyes if they're closed. And now take out a new piece of paper or a new page in your doc if you're using something like that. And I want you to write out all of the exact same sentences or statements that you just wrote. But at the beginning of each of them, instead of saying the person's name, like, John is this, or, you know, I don't know, Erica is that, write I, not EYE, I as an I. And I really invite you to write out the entire sentence and say I. I don't listen to myself. I don't value myself. I am hard on myself. I am so rude. I am so angry. I am so inconsiderate. Just write it all out. You're writing the exact same sentences, but you're saying I instead of the person. And remember to breathe. And when you've completed rewriting your sentences with the word I, go ahead and drop an emoji in the chat. Yeah. This is the tender work, my loves. This is the tender work. I like your thoughtful emojis. We'll spend about another, just less than a minute. You can always come back and finish writing them all out. Love you, Brad. Make sure to come back and listen to a compassion meditation or something so you can complete this, yeah? And you don't leave yourself hanging. All right. So go ahead and just start to wrap up. And now look at your list and read it. Read the second one. I this, I that, I this, I that. And if you want, place a hand on your heart while you read these things to yourself. Now, for some of us, we will read our sentences and we'll say, well, that's not true. I'm not that way. But I would say if we go deeper, we'll always find that it is somehow related to a truth within our own being. Can you see that the way you are with yourself determines how you think others are with you, determines the judgments that you hold, determines your ability to have compassion or not? And just as we often don't see um, our shortcomings, we often don't see how we actually are with ourselves. I can't tell you within my own personal work and also working with others for so many years, we'll come together and they'll say, I'm not really hard on myself. I remember I didn't see it in myself. I did not have any idea how hard I was on myself. And then we start to peel back the layers and see, like, oh, wow, I expect myself to be perfect in this area. I judge myself if I don't do that a certain way. I think that I always have to be nice. I think I should always be happy. I think I always have to put others before me. Like, oh my goodness, the amount of judgment and how hard I am on myself all the time, just trying to fit into a box. So I think that I will have a place in life or in the world or feel safe is just exhausting. So, can you start to see, my friends, how all of these judgments that your mind is projecting onto another person are really about you with you? Are you starting to be able to see this? Is your mind opening to be able to see this? And you can go ahead and share in the chat if you wish. I know some of you are typing and it takes a while to come through to my end. And again, if you're not on Insight Timer, I invite you to come to Insight Timer so you can be part of this discussion. Yeah. So now let's do a little bit of work because I know for some of us, we're having difficulty digesting this. We're saying, there's no way this is true. This is nonsense. So I invite you, we'll just get to probably a couple today because I'd like to do a brief meditation as well. I invite you to share in the chat if you had a belief or, a statement, a judgment about the other that you just can't see how it has any connection to you. So go ahead and share in the chat. And again, I'll just get to it. We'll just get to a couple. Beautiful, Mel. There are many wonderful compassion meditations here on the app. I have at least two or three. So again, the invitation here is to share in the chat if you're having a statement or a judgment about someone else, that when you turn it around and recognize it as something about you, you just can't see it at all. And maybe it's a little too uncomfortable to do this work all together in community. Okay, Catherine, she is unable to support me. Okay. Um, I don't know the context here. If we had more time, I would go deeper into this with you, but I'll just share a few things to look at. So she is unable to support me. I don't know if it is financial support or if it is emotional support or what kind of support you're needing. I would ask myself, though, or I would start to look at, if I am needing someone else to support me, in what way am I not being there for myself? If I'm expecting someone else to support me, in what ways am I not supporting myself? If I'm feeling dependent on someone else loving me or being present for me or caring about me, in what ways am I not being present, loving, or caring with myself and looking for someone else to do that for me? So I'll leave that there, just kind of like a brief introspection. Feel free to share in the chat what arises for you when you reflect on that. And in the meantime, we'll just move on to one more. Um, okay, Victoria's sharing, for me, that's the gaslighting. I do not gaslight myself. Okay. So can you give me a specific example, my love? Like so and so said something to me? Or is it just a general context where someone keeps saying, you're wrong when you share something? We might need a little bit more information so we can dive into this one. Um, let's see, I'm looking at the time here. Maybe we'll go over about 5 minutes just so we can have a little time for a meditation. I know Victoria might be typing. Feeling sad being alone without connection with others. Um, okay. So could it be possible that if you were to go deeper inside, that you are feeling like you are unable to support yourself, that you're longing to feel some sense of connection or love or support, not feeling alone, but deep down inside, You don't give that to your own self. And most of us don't because we've never learned how to. So we look to others to support us, to make us feel loved, to make us feel happy, to make us feel joy. But what if what we're really longing for is to feel that deep connection with our own self? And each time we feel like we want someone to support us or love us or care for us, and we look for that outside, it's almost like we're turning our back to ourselves and this place inside that is needing our love and our attention, not someone else's. Just some food for thought. Again, we don't have time to go too deeply into these things, but I just want to plant some seeds. And you might apply these to whatever situation's coming up for you, my friends, where you can't see this with yourself. Okay. Victoria, it's more of accusations and not believing my truth when they know that I'm 100% transparent and honest person. Okay. So it's more of accusations. So maybe what you might say, if I'm hearing this and understanding this correctly, I don't believe my truth. I don't believe my truth. That's what I would sit with my love, because that's the energy I feel from that. I don't believe my own truth. So where are you not honoring your truth? Where are you not honoring yourself? Where are you not mm, respecting what you know and letting it be that? Where are you not honoring your truth? Again, I want us to get to a meditation, so I'm just giving some really brief little things here for us to sit within our inquiry. Okay, great, love. Beautiful. I'm so glad, Sil shed. What a beautiful, precious insight. Thanks for sharing your wisdom, Selena. So full of love. This really helps to feel less hurt and gives more balance. I'm so glad. Beautiful, my friends. Beautiful. And this is just the beginning. We just did one thing today. I thought we might get to a few, but even just this one thing, right? It all comes back to us. Like I was sharing with my own personal experience that I just had. Of course, I've had many experiences in my life to work with this, but the one that I just had, I really just felt how I was so scared about being not perfect on some level. You might not think about it that way. Like in the context, I was just feeling like this person was really wrong. The way they showed up was wrong and bad. Whatever. I wasn't thinking those exact words, but that's the way it felt, right? Um, and I really felt like whatever judgments they were holding about me were just misconstrued from their pain and their mental nonsense. But it was because it felt too scary to acknowledge that I'm not always right. I'm not always perfect. I'm never really perfect anyway. But there's that part of the ego that's just terrified to face where we are contributing to the situation. It's never all somebody else. And I would even venture to say that when we truly find access to loving ourselves and being with ourselves and honoring ourselves in such a profound way that our mind becomes more peaceful, we see somebody else in their nonsense, in their emotional reactions, doing things that maybe aren't the greatest, but our reaction is totally different. Maybe we just see them doing or hear them saying what they're saying, but it doesn't ping us anymore. It doesn't trigger us anymore. It doesn't cripple us or make us crumble anymore because we're so rooted in our own self-love that we're able to see that they're just having an experience. And although there's always room for us to grow, it's when we take it personally and it's all of our own judgments about ourselves that makes it hurt so much. Many of you have heard me share this. This is like one of my primary teaching experiences. And the heart of it is whenever I feel upset, like someone else is judging me or someone else is being unkind or someone else is being bad, right? I'm just using these kind of general words here. I say to myself, can I love myself even when others are judging me? I might not even think about it like that. I might think it's all them, they're the bad guy. It's about me and how I'm treating myself. That's why I'm suffering in that moment. It's not because they're judging me, it's because I'm judging me. It's not because I feel rejected by them, it's because I'm rejecting myself based on what I've just experienced with them. Can I love myself? Can I accept myself even when others are judging me or rejecting me or they don't like me or they even hate me? Can I accept myself? So, Rose, I see you're asking a question here, but unfortunately, we don't have time to get into any more questions. Friends, always feel free to bring your questions to our group, Love Heals All, and we can keep the conversation going. That's such a great question, too, Rose. Such a great question. Please feel free to share it in our group, Love Heals All. I'd love to bring that forth, and I'm sure we have other community members that can chime in there too. Thank you, Peter Brook. Bless you. So let's just take a few minutes here. We'll go over about 5 minutes so we can have a brief compassion meditation experience. Let's roll the shoulders up and back a few times if you can move your body. And then just relax them down. Close your eyes, let the body be still. And I invite you to take more of an open posture if you can. Let your chest be open. Maybe have your palms turned up toward the sky. Lift your spine up, sit tall. Relax the body at the same time. Take some slow, deep breaths. You can exhale through the mouth, let out some sound, let out a sigh. Bring to mind someone who you feel really loved by. And maybe you don't have a person in your life that you feel really loved by, but you feel really loved by your dog or your cat. Or maybe you can just imagine how beautiful it would feel to be loved by someone. Or maybe you just feel my heart, my words, you hear my voice, and you can feel that love. Bring someone to mind who you feel this love with, even if it's just in your imagination. And start to feel how good it is to have that love in your life, whether it's from the past or present. What a gift it is to feel connection or to feel safe, to feel sweetness, whatever you are able to feel by thinking of this love. And if you find yourself getting caught in thoughts about pain, then I invite you to think of a different situation where it's just a warm feeling in your heart, different person or experience. Feel like your heart is able to soften as you feel into, as you think about this person or this pet or this love in the world, in your life. And I invite you to imagine a version of yourself across from you and see yourself as you are today. You can visualize this version of yourself, or if visualizing is difficult, you can just use the power of your mind to intend this experience. Imagine what you're wearing, the expression on the face of this version of you, your body language. And start to sense how this version of you from present day is feeling. And you might become aware that there are a lot of judgments patterns of judgment for many of us, not all of us, that the mind holds. Maybe as you look at yourself, you're judging the body, or you're just judging yourself for not being this or not being that. A kind of a painful way to live with all of this judgment and internal pressure. But start to see how much you do in your life. Start to see all of the ways that you show up, even when you don't want to, whether it's for work or for a friend or for your body. Acknowledge the ways that you do take care of yourself. Even if you didn't exercise or eat the way that you wanted to this last week or however long, have you been spending time meditating or being in nature or reading things that feed your heart or your soul? Maybe you've been having therapy or coaching. Think about all of the ways that you have been showing up for yourself. Maybe it's just making sure you drink water in the day. And start to see that your experience of this moment is not just about right now, meaning maybe you're judging yourself for not being on your game in some way, or wishing that you had been more compassionate, or that you were more creative, or that you were happy, or whatever it is. Recognize that your life is an accumulation of past experiences as much as it is about the present moment. So reflect on your life. How much have you persevered through and you have made it to this moment in time? You're here now. And just like the rest of us, you're probably still doing your work, and that's okay. That's life. How many times have you been kind to someone in your life? Maybe you gave someone a hug when they needed it, or bought someone a meal, or just listened. How many times have you been the loving person that you truly are? And we can go back even further, all the way to when we were a child. See yourself as a child across from you. And again, if you can't visualize this, it's okay. Just imagine. This child has been through so much. Maybe they never learned to have a healthy relationship with their emotions. Maybe they never learned to be kind or loving to themselves. Maybe their experience growing up was that they had to prove their worth, or they had to hide not to feel unsafe. This child has been through so much, and they deserve the world. They deserve all of the love and compassion and safety. You've been through so much in your life, and you are such a beautiful person. No matter the pain you carry, no matter your emotional reactions, no matter the dark periods you go through or the challenges you face, you are a beautiful person. You are beautiful. Can you see that you're doing great for everything you've been through in your life. And you deserve patience and forgiveness and compassion. Thank yourself for being willing to be here today and do this deep work. Thank yourself for showing up again and again, even when it's not easy. You deserve rest. You deserve play. You deserve all of the goodness this life has to offer, no matter the mistakes you've made. You are beautiful, and there's nothing wrong with you. No matter what you learned through experiences in your life, there's nothing wrong with you, my love. And you let your own love in, and you let your own love in. Let's take a deep breath together. Hold yourself. Just hug yourself if you can. Hold yourself lovingly, tenderly. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to hurt people even when you don't truly want to. It's okay. We make mistakes. We're growing, we're learning. Can you be more generous and kind and forgiving with yourself? The more you're able to accept yourself for all of the messy humanness, the easier it will be to accept others and their messy humanness. And then we don't close our hearts so much. When I'm not accepting myself in my messy humanness, I absolutely reject others who aren't perfect. And then I close my heart and I feel sad and I feel pain and I feel longing. So let us practice opening our hearts to ourselves. Practice being compassionate with ourselves. Practice loving ourselves, accepting ourselves, recognizing that every mistake we make is just a mistake. It's not who we are. And we can grow and learn from each of them. I love you so much. We went way over. Apologies for anyone who needed to go. Yeah, Catherine. And always feel free to reach out. If you're not part of our group, Love Heals All, join the group. We can share together. That's part of what the group is for. We haven't had a lot of activity lately. Jason Jason is always really posting wonderful things. Um, but that's what we can use the group space for. Let's keep satsanging. Let's keep this going. If you have something you're chewing on or working through, share it in the group. Let's come together and serve each other. Yeah. Thank you all so, so much. So much. I love you with all that I am. My heart is yours. That is my greatest wish, to just have a heart of love for all. And I get to still work through the layers where I keep my own heart closed in judgment. But there are so many ways. that is just open and here for you always. You can always tap into this love. Always. It's within you. It is you. It is your love. Mm. Yes, the time with mom telling the story. Mm. Again, friends, thank you for your donations. So grateful. They support Insight Timer and me. The portion goes to each of us. So thank you for that financial support, energetic support. So we'll be together again 2 more times this week. Um, oh, that's beautiful, Peter Brook. We'll be together tomorrow. We're going to play with our sun salutation practice. So a little yoga asana without the whole sequence. You can come for 5 minutes, you can come for 10, come for 30, whatever you want. It's going to be a nice way just to get into our bodies and our breath. That happens tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. And then we'll be meeting again on Friday for our full vinyasa flow session, also at 2 p.m. Eastern. And you can always check my profile page for my live schedule. I'll be posting about the course release in our group. And I think that's all for now. I do have a few compassion sessions here on the app. One is called Release Pain with Compassion. Another one is called, oh gosh, Loving Kindness, Opening the Heart, something like that. That's also a compassion meditation. And then there's another talk where we move into meeting criticism with compassion. Okay. Until we meet again, I love you. Thank you for being in this work with me. So grateful. Maybe see you tomorrow or Friday or next Wednesday or next Tuesday. I love you. Hi, JP. Are you still here? I never check the chat here on YouTube during the live sessions because I'm over on the Insight Timer app. But please, the Insight Timer app is a free app. Come on over to Insight Timer, and um, then we can engage together, and I can see your questions. I see that you're sharing things here. I wish I had seen them real time during our session. So grateful to connect. All my love.